That is why the sage Ashtavakra says in chapter 8, verse 1, when the mind desires or grieves things, accepts or rejects things, is pleased or displeased by things, this is bondage. This delusion of separation, it's actually a 4D system. It's a 4D system. For the delusion of separation, the mind uses three things: desire, doership, and duality. Desire is what? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Doership is what? What should I do? Or what should the other have done? In these times especially, there's so much doership. What did everyone do? How could they do such a thing? So desire, doership, duality is the sense of separation, me and another. It's constantly telling us the story of duality, of separation. So it uses this desire, what's in it for me, what's in it for me. Uses doership, pretending as if this appearance called the body is in some way linked with this appearance of energies called thoughts. And it is made a, presumably a body-mind complex out of these energies, and presume that it has some individual personal free will. And these appearances are just dancing. The body is just dancing on its own. These thoughts are just dancing on their own. But the story that these thoughts are telling is that there's one unit called a me, which is doing or not doing. And there is a set of these units, these set of individual me's everywhere, which are deciding to do things or not do things. This is doership, basically. The idea that there is an individual doer. And this relies on this concept of duality. All of this desire and doership relies on this idea of duality. There is a me and there's another. There's me in the world. Even when we accept that everything is God, when we say, oh, everything, God is doing everything, very quickly the next question is, but why is he doing this to me? If God is doing everything, there is no me. The one doer is the one experiencer. Both cannot be true. So in this way, we float about between desires, doership, and duality, and seem to get caught up in this delusion of personhood. So what does the sage mean when he says, when the mind desires or grieves things? He's talking about saying that something should be mine, and when that mine is taken away, then it can suffer because of that. It was mine, now it is not there. So this sense of desire and the manifestation of a seeming loss, and the suffering because of it, is the trick of the mind. Then he says, accepts or rejects things. What does this mean? It means that the rejection is clear. So I have an aversion to something. This should not come in my appearance. Only these things should come. And life ensures that that which we try to avoid, that keeps showing up. That is a test of our openness. Or we can say, yes, this is okay, this I want. I want only more of this. I should have my every day should be like this. We feel like we can create a plan. about how life should appear for us. So when the mind desires or grieves things, accepts or rejects things, is pleased or displeased by things, this is bondage. Why? Because it relies on the presumption that the story of the mind is true, that there is a separate me that is a victim to this world, that has some separate control over this world, and that is an individual experiencer of this world. And because we accept this premise from the mind, this leads to suffering. And it must be this way. It must be this way because if the lie did not even lead to suffering, then we would just be lying all the time. If this lie that there is separation, that the separation could have happened, if you could just believe this lie, there would be no suffering as a result of it, then it can seem like the lie in the play can go on for much longer. So suffering is God's own alarm clock, which God has set to look, to wake up and see what is real, what are we still attached to, what delusion of control are we still believing. So when the mind desires or grieves things, accepts or rejects things, is pleased or is displeased by things, that is bondage. When the mind does not desire or grieve, accept or reject, become pleased or displeased, liberation is at hand. This is the openness that we have been talking about. What is just is. It is not good, it is not bad. It just is. So when the Buddha said that everything is perfect, and knowing this you are free, he did not mean that everything is perfect in a phenomenal way. He just meant that everything is just what it is. And if we are open, then we are not bound, then we are not pretending. And if you are open, actually, we'll see that all of this appearance is a play in my own light, in your own light, as consciousness. Telling you that you're going to die, you have to hold on to some independence. Know that this is not where the truth is leading you. The truth is pointing you to your pristine existence, your pristine reality. And as this dissolution of this fear will happen more and more, you will see for yourself that there is nothing to be scared of. When you let go of this branch of the ego, when you let go of this identity, you fly. Not even fly. You see that everything is contained within you. Therefore, what to do? Just let go. How to let go? Just remain open. Allow everything to move on its own. How to resist? How not to be open is only to go with your thoughts. If the mind is attached to any experience, this is bondage. So we looked at this, we want only this. This should be my appearance. What should appear to me should be just like this. We feel like I can decide. When the mind is detached from all experience, this is liberation. Can it be as simple as this? The mind is detached from all experience. Do not say when all experience ceases to happen. Experiences can still come and go. When it is not desiring or becoming averse to them, when you are not becoming averse to anything, neither are you saying that I want only this. This simple openness is liberation. So if some of you are listening carefully, you will notice that Janaka had asked two questions leading to liberation. Two questions was, how is true knowledge to be attained and detachment achieved? So the sage has now spoken about true knowledge for the first few chapters, quite a bit about awareness, one solitary witness. Now the sage is talking about detachment. And both are interlinked. And to see the truth of who we are and not to go with the false conditioning, to remain in our openness, this is liberation. Liberation only is the dropping of this false bondage. Self-recognition. Self-recognition is very important for us to let go of that which is false. And to let go of that which is false is very helpful in our self-recognition. So in that way, it is a virtuous cycle. The more we are recognizing who we are in reality, the more we are able to let go of the false. And the more we are able to let go of the false, we remain in the recognition of who we are. And it works as a vicious cycle also. The more we believe the false about us, it can seem like there are so many resistances and blocks to our recognition of the self. And the more we get caught up in false ideas, this refusal to look at what is really here, the more we feel a tendency to go with our mind. So the same realm, the same universe, the same Maya operates as if more and more delusion can happen here, and the same realm can be used to use every appearance to look back and see the reality of who we are. Depending on what your true urge is. This is very important. Depending on what your true urge is, this realm is used in either of these two ways. So if your true urge is to continue to play personally, then you can use everything even in satsang. to make everything seem personal. You see. What I'm saying, how I'm behaving, everything can become personal. You see. If there's still an urge operating like that to play personally, or if the urge is to let go of this identity, then everything, the entire world becomes your satsang. So if the urge is for specialness, if the urge is for individuality, even satsang will seem like an opportunity for perpetuating this delusion. And if the urge is for freedom, then a marketplace also will point you to the truth of who you are. How to check what is my truest urge? My master asks this question often. He says, if there was one wish that you could have, what would that wish be? And sometimes we can say, if everything was taken away from you, but you found the reality of who you are, would you be okay with that? What is the point of this checking? Is not to make anyone feel guilty. It's just to bring some integrity into our life. Only that. To shine our light on what it is that I truly want. And if truly you're okay with the end of your story, then the words of the sage Ashtavakra will not seem like they are attacking you. And the world will not seem like it is attacking you. Sometimes what happens here is that, you know what happens when a sangha grows and various things can happen, and those sometimes who are close to you then sometimes can become your attackers, your opponents. So when that happens, sometimes momentarily it can feel like, how can my children be attacking me or something? But then it is revealed here. What are they attacking? That which they are attacking is dead. There is no Ananta actually. What they are attacking is already dead. In Hindi there's a term, there's a phrase, no? There's a phrase which says, mare hue ko kya maroge? It means, if you're already dead, how will you kill that one? If someone is already dead, how will you kill that one? These revelations, they come here when momentarily there's a feeling of some hurt or something. So what is going on? They are attacking, or somebody is attacking, presumably this Ananta, but there is no Ananta here. There is nothing really that I can say about myself or this Ananta with some conviction. So this body can appear again and again every morning, at least seemingly. Our acquaintances and loved ones can appear. But there is really nobody that your name refers to. There is no individual that it is pointing to. It was just a fancy idea, and now most of you are dropping it. So the entire attempt has been to try and make something out of this nothing. Trying to bring this never existent one, the non-existent one, to life is a refusal to see what is true life. So when my master says you are life itself, what does this mean? It means that you are this light of this life. You are the light of consciousness, which is bringing all of this to life. You are this itself. The false one will never come alive. And life and death do not apply to that which you really are. In verse 4, the sage says, when there is no I, there is only liberation. When I appears, bondage appears with it. Knowing this, it is effortless to refrain from accepting and rejecting. So we see that when the sage is now saying I, he is referring to this same, the non-existent one, the false one, imaginary one. When we buy into the idea of this one, that is bondage. When we see that there is no such individual entity I, that is freedom. And once we know this, then openness comes naturally. That's all that the sage is saying here. It's encapsulating what we already discussed. Is to see that the non-existent one does not exist, it never has. And the reality of who I am is not personal. Then the letting go of that which is false, to remain in openness, non-resistance, is very natural to us.